were surprised to find him conscious. How the van was positioned, it was quite a severe hit. We got the helicopter because we weren't able to assess him basically from the waist down because that's where he was trapped. There's high potential for severe injuries.
Nice big breaths for me, Carl. A couple of big breaths.
Oh, lost one. What's going on?
Carl, you're in the back of an ambulance. Pop this arm down for me. Hold on to that handle there. We're going to take you and put you inside a helicopter. We're taking you to the Melbourne Hospital.
Helicopter?
Yeah, you've been in a car accident. No one else, mate. You're all good. Someone pulled out in front of you. This is Carl, 38-year-old male, who is driving a small light van. A small tray truck pull out in front of him. He's been trapped by his knees and his pelvis for approximately 40 minutes in duration. He's going to do all right from what I can see. He's got some injuries to his lower legs and also possibly injuries to his pelvis as well. Aside from that, his head and his chest and everything else that I can see is okay. We've given him lots of medicines to make him nice and comfortable, so he won't remember much of the trip at all, so he's going to be very dazed about the whole incident. The main thing is his heart rate's good, his blood pressure's good.
So he's stable, but he's got a number of injuries. He's actually going to get imaging from the head down to the pelvis. So we're worried about a head injury. He's got a laceration to his head and he's also got pretty poor memory of the event. He's also likely got a pelvic injury.
A pelvic fracture through the right acetabulum. It's quite nasty. So it's a ball and socket joint. That socket has now been smashed.
I'm quite reassured that we're 2.5 hours down the track and we've remained hemodynamically stable, so that means I'm not worried about any significant bleeding. So what we do have is significant pelvic injuries, yes, and we've got a large laceration on the leg, and he's actually going to be going to theatre in the next hour.
Behind the wheel, don't treat it as a race, don't get so aggressive, don't get so upset. Just try and realise that you're in a privileged position really to be able to drive around.
What we're treating today is his acetabular fracture, which is a fracture through the socket of his hip joint. You can see that this hip joint is nicely in the joint, and if you look at this side, the hip joint is actually subluxed, and his head of the femur, so the ball of the ball and socket, is actually out the back.
Like, it's just because there's no bonnet, the motor's underneath you, so whatever you hit, you're going to hit.
No, it's the length of the surgery. So as soon as you go over an hour, your reflection rate starts to do that. And so we're already at 4 to 5 hours, which is a long time.
They wanted to do the hip and the knee together. They said they're estimating that the hip surgery would take about 8 hours, which was a long time to be under. And so they didn't want to drag that any further. My knee's got to cut each side. As I'm doing more physio on the right knee, that's becoming less of a mental issue. There's not really anything over that side of town that's close to home or any closer than what we are now. I said, because I'm in a bit of space now, it's a little bit easier to cope with. Always the highlight of the week is when they're in here.